Beth. Hey, congratulations for your film Outpost.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. We're excited. Friday.
I know that is actually pretty exciting, and it's a terrific film.
Thank
Um,
you.
so we got to hear it from you initially. What brought you on board to be part of this project?
Well, I can tell you the most simple answer is Joe is my husband. And we sort of, created this project. I think he created this project with me in mind because he had written a few other horror films and, the budgets were large and, we were starting to realize we needed to produce something ourselves. We wanted to, it was his dream to do. And we thought, you know, let's find a place that is like sort of more of a one location, make the cast really small. I live here with him, so he knows my schedule. I can work around things. And I think we just have a deep respect for each other creatively and wanted to work on something together. And it's also a really kind of incredible challenge for me because I'm mainly a comedic actor. And so it's been really fun to get to kind of stretch my acting muscles in this way. And yeah, so that's sort of how it came about.
It's funny because the only thing I knew about your husband Joe is that he's also a very comedic actor himself. So I didn't realize you folks are into the horror genre.
Yeah, well, he especially, I mean, that's really his first love was, Jaws and Stephen King. And so his big dream in life really, I mean, his career took him on the comedy route and he loves it, obviously, but his first love is horror and also writing and directing his own movie. So this is really such a huge gift for us to get to be able to do and a labor of love. And we're excited to get it out there so people can see it.
So you do a lot of projects with him, or is this the first time?
We've worked together as actors on Burning Love and on Wet Hot American Summer, the Netflix show, and I did a spot on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, like a scene with him. A lot of the partners from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, we got little scenes with our siggos. And yeah, so we have worked together as actors, but this is our first time working together as director actor, and it was great. I was a little at first I was like, oh, how's this going to be? But it wound up being really pretty incredible and so creatively fulfilling for both of us. We did a couple of different things like on the set. We had our own hotel rooms. Because he was up late doing shot lists and things for the next day, and I would want to get my sleep and kind of be more meditative in terms of just being an actor in this type of intense role. So that was a thing that we did that I think was very smart for us to do because then we could just put on our sort of actor director hats and go to work.
So when you and him approach a project like this, how do you take directions from your husband?
Great. I know it surprises, right? I mean, domestically, not so great, but professionally, great. Yeah, no, it was great. I mean, like I said, it goes back to how much I sort of trust and respect his process. And creatively, I just think he's incredible. And he had such a vision for this. He wrote it, so he knows what he wants. And I know how much work he had put into it in the years prior. I mean, this is like from beginning to end, this has been like a 4.5 year odyssey. Turns out making indie film is not that easy from scratch, just doing it yourself. But it's yeah, so I trusted him implicitly and we were great. We got along great. It was awesome.
Most excellent. Okay, well, let's take a look at this project, Outpost. So, was it actually filmed in the middle of nowhere in Idaho, or did you basically substitute a different location?
So I mean, really the best thing that happened was we found this incredible location. Here's a picture of it right there. And that is in Coolin Priest Lake, Idaho area. And that is a working fire lookout tower that
Hmm.
was still working as we were shooting. Like we would be done for the day and someone would be coming in to spend the night in this tiny little place. And I would say it's such a unbelievably perfect, um, it was exactly what we needed for the story. So we got really, really lucky. Everyone in Idaho was so nice and really receptive to us being up there. And it was like, it was a stroke of luck, but also, we they did a lot of touring around different places, but we found this perfect place, and it really just added to the value of the movie so much. Like, I don't know what we would have done if we hadn't found that. So yeah.
So did you do any preparations for yourself as a volunteer lookout? Maybe did it for a day or two?
I did not, but I did do some like axe work. I went to uh, which is a ridiculous thing to do. I don't know that I would recommend doing this, but I brought an axe and some firewood to Griffith Park here in LA, which is filled with families and people just enjoying their time. And I'm just, yielding an axe and trying to figure out how to, like, break the wood in half. So it was kind of silly, but I did learn how to do that. And it is very cathartic. I highly recommend it if you ever go to one of those places. Now they have little bars you can axe throw. So yeah, so I did, it was more like the physical preparation with that. And learning about what people do in the tower and all of that. So but I didn't spend the night in one myself, although it felt like I did while I was shooting it.
I was gonna say the film itself, it feels kind of, you playing Kate feels kind of lonely up there.
Yeah, well, only I think 5 crew members could fit up there. So the rest of the crew had to be down, downstairs or on the perimeter of it. And this thing swayed. It was scary and very high up. It was super fun to do. Doing those fight sequences, I think, was probably the scariest part because I was afraid of heights for the first couple of days going up there, and we had to spend a lot of time up there. So some of that fear was real.
That's a lot of steps going up
It's
that
a
tower.
lot.
I felt tired just
It was a lot of up and down for both myself and the crew. I mean, we did a lot of, we definitely got our exercise in for the day. Our steps were in for the day for sure.
now tell us about the what you love about the character Kate and how you got into the mindset of Kate, because I'm sure that was pretty challenging, especially with a comedic background for yourself.
Yeah, but I sort of fell into comedy. I'm a theater major. I was I thought I was going to be this dramatic actor. So I'm glad that I get to do it. Um, I mean, this character deals with PTSD and domestic violence, and how she's trying to seek recovery by isolating herself in the middle of this fire lookout tower and volunteering. And it turns out that being alone and not sort of asking for help and thinking that you can just, white knuckle your way through it is not really the way to go, right? And just being alone inside your mind, it's very important to ask for help. And so, I mean, I can relate to it. I think all of us can, just in terms of just repressing our true feelings and how that can affect your mental state and your physical state. This is obviously a much more intense level, but I certainly can relate to her in that way, as a woman, especially. And so, yeah, it was a challenge, and I loved playing Kate. It was great and very cathartic.
I know, and Kate herself is, driving herself nuts, because this is I I know you called it a horror. I like to call it like a psychological thriller in its own way.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, we say horror, but I think really at the end of the day, there's horror in her own mind, but it is a psychological thriller. Absolutely. Yeah.
So was it easy to turn off Kate at the end of the day?
It depends. Yeah, for the most part, I'm pretty good at separating the two. It depended on the day, though. There were some scenes like where I'm, feral and kind of wild and intense things are happening that day that, at the end of the day, I'd be feeling it, tired and just needing to be by myself. And especially if I knew that I was going to have to do it again the next day, depending on the scene, like those really intense scenes, I did feel like I needed to sort of be quiet and be alone and just sort of concentrate silently. But we had so much fun up there because a lot of those guys are our friends for many years. We've known them forever. And so it was, in a way, a little bit like summer camp too. So we had a lot of fun as well. So.
I know the film shows is like three months, but I guess I'm curious how long was that shoot really? What was that, like a 10-day shoot?
We
Three
shot
days?
it, I think it was a 14-day shoot, but to get up to that tower, it was an hour up and an hour down. So we lost 2 hours. We lost 2 hours every day, of shooting time. And, it was a working fire lookout tower. So we only had a certain amount of time, and we would shoot during the day. So we did day for night sometimes. So it was very challenging. And so even though it was a 14-day shoot, I would even call it a 12-day shoot, because we lost a lot of time. So we had to work fast, we had to work efficiently. A lot of prep work had to be done beforehand, so we knew what we were doing when we were doing it, and everyone had to be on board, because it's an indie film. It's we don't have all the time and the money and the resources. So everyone, a lot of people were putting on two hats. Like a lot of people were just helping where they could, even if it wasn't their job. We were just all in it together, and it was great. It was great.
What do you love about doing these indie films, unlike the other projects that you actually do that you're known for?
Indie films are, they're fun. Television is sort of where I've probably done the most work. But the past few movies I've done have been, or past few things I've done have been indie films. And it's great because, I just did The Donor Party that just came out, and Tom Hart, he's a first-time director. He's a writer. He is so excited. This is like his dream. He's excited to be there. And that is infectious, right? So I think indie films, a lot of it is a labor of love for people, and they're highly connected to the project, and that makes you connected to it, so yeah, I would say that's the main thing that I like about indie film.
Lots of creativity, especially on something like this. Just going rewinding back a bit, you said that this tower is actually an active tower.
Yes.
Is it manned by a volunteer, like as in the film too?
It is. So it's volunteers. Now, here's what's crazy is the person who was staying with us, or staying, not staying with us, but staying there, we would sort of, it was like a husband and wife. I think the husband was like a fireman, and they had a 3-month-old baby, and they were just sort of doing it for fun for a couple of weeks. And I was like, y'all are, but they were sort of outdoorsy. And so I was impressed. But yeah, there was a couple with a 3-month-old baby who was volunteering for the week or two we were there. It was wild because it's beautiful. I think they were there also just to experience it, but yeah.
So when the filming production is going on, are they in the tower with you, or are they just like hang outside or take a hike?
No, their shift didn't start till the evening. So they took like the evening shift, and I guess they didn't have the volunteers during the day. I think it was just like an overnight thing. So
okay.
I don't think we were shooting during like a high fire season. So I don't think that there needed to be people there 24 hours. I don't know all the logistics of everything, but it was just that they were there at night.
Well,
yeah, with a 3-month-old baby.
what do I know about fire?
What do I know? I was hermetically sealed in my house with a 3-month-old baby. I was like afraid to go to the Americana, but I give a lot of respect to people who are more adventurous than me.
Hey, I'm amazed that you even know the lingo and the barometer and all this kind of stuff, because that's all a foreign language to me.
Yeah, well, it is to me now too. At the time, I was told all the things, like I knew what I was saying, and now I've forgotten it. So I would fail that test now. We shot this 2 years ago, so it's left my brain.
Beth, could you tell me, because you mentioned you went into theater, but what actually got you into acting itself?
Well, I'm a kid actor. So I was that sort of strange type of person that knew what they wanted to do from like the age of 3. So, I would memorize commercials, and asked my mom, I really want to be an actor. And she got me headshots. We happened to live in New Jersey at the time. And I did like, some kid acting, kid auditions. And then I moved around a lot. My stepdad was military, but we wound up in outside of Tampa, Florida for high school and middle school and high school. And so at the time in Orlando, they had Nickelodeon studios. So my mom would let me use the car and drive up for auditions. And so I did like Welcome Freshmen and Keenan and Kel and commercials and things like that. So I'm a kid actor. It's just, I don't even remember wanting to do it. I just, more than anything, I don't remember not wanting to do it, So I don't know. It just sort of was in me from birth, I guess.
Is this how you develop the comedy background? Ever doing those kids shows and kind of like stuck in you kind of like stick around in that genre?
I guess. I mean, I went, I didn't think of it like that at the time. But I went to theater school. I went to UF and got my degree in theater and moved to New York afterwards and did a lot of plays for no money. Some serious, some not. And, commercials, and worked 3 jobs and hustled like that. And, when I moved to LA in 2003, I started taking classes at the Second City and did improv. And I loved my class so much. And we went through the whole program for 2 years, and then we kind of stuck together for a little while longer and did some shows. So that's sort of really kind of what got me involved in the comedy world, and it just was a fit. But once again, I never made like the express decision to only do comedy stuff, but I think that was sort of what happened. But it's been nice because Orange is the New Black, I was able to kind of it's still I suppose a comedic role, but it's more naturalistic villain kind of person. So that was like a dramedy. So that was fun to do. And now Outpost. So, stretching my muscles in other ways.
I know doing plays with no money and now doing indie films with no money. Well, I guess is you're helping out your husband in this case.
Yes. And I love the movie. I mean, it's great, and I hope people see it.
I and did you meet Joe during like one of these during like a production, or did you meet him like during like school or something like that?
So I was roommates with his brother,
Oh,
and he was living in New York, and Brian and I, Joe's brother, lived together in West Hollywood. And Joe would come out for pilot season sometimes and crash on the couch. And I was like, oh my God, it's the guy from the state and whatnot. So we became friends, and we started sort of casually dating. And that was 20 years ago. So the rest is history. We've been kind of together ever since. He moved here in 2006. So, but we started dating in 2004. So almost 20
are
years.
is your humor and his humor very similar?
Yeah,
Uh,
I think we find the same stuff funny. I mean, I was such a huge fan of the state and Wet Hot and all that. So, I love that humor, and he does too. And yeah, absolutely. We have a shorthand in that way.
wow, that is wonderful. Now,
Mhm.
since he has hands in directing and writing, what about for yourself? Do you see yourself in the director's chair one of these days?
I would love to. It hasn't been a goal of mine as of right now. I love, sometimes I would teach acting and things like that, or audition coaching. So I love helping actors. That's really my passion. But directing has a lot to do with that. So yeah, I absolutely would. And I've written some things. I have a writing partner, Val. We used to have back in the day, we had like a vlog, and then we kind of sold some scripts and things like that. So I have my hand in a few different things, but acting's my main thing.
Most excellent. Well, I've taken enough of your time already, Beth, but could you talk about some of your upcoming projects now?
Yeah, so yeah, I have some indie films that The Donor Party just came out. That's
Yes.
with Alan Ackerman and Rob Corddry, and you can watch that streaming right now. There's a film called Scrap that should be coming out with Anthony Rapp. That's making the rounds at all the film festivals, so there'll be distribution for that soon. And then there's another indie film called Helen's Dead. I don't know when that's coming out, but that's me and Emil Hirsch, and it's a great, fun sort of in that sort of Knives Out tradition of murder mystery comedy vibes. So yeah, so those are the 3 movies, and of course Outpost coming out on Friday. Go see it, y'all.
Yeah, I know it is wonderful. Well, hey, congratulations for Outpost. I mean,
Thank you.
you carried that film. I do have to admit. So
Thank you so
that
much. I appreciate it.
that is wonderful. Thank you for this conversation, and hopefully we get to do this again, Beth.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.